Kind is rated R. The Rocky Horror Picture Show is also rated R. We're going to spend this time discussing the movie in gory detail, and along the road we will talk about some adult content and use some of our favorite swear words.
Return the slab.
Consider yourselves warned.
Welcome to Rocky Horror Minute, the podcast where we break down the Rocky Horror Picture Show in excruciating detail, 1 minute at a time. What's your name, honey?
I'm Leandra. What's yours?
I'm Kelly, your two hosts on this journey. This is awesome.
Jesus
anyway,
Christ,
I know.
Kelly.
Listeners, I'm trying something new.
On minute 93
Yes.
of 100 minutes.
93% of
Sure.
the way through the podcast, I thought I would just give it a little facelift. That's showbiz, baby.
That's showbiz, baby.
What happens in this minute, Leandra? Which we've already mentioned is minute 93.
I'm so glad you asked.
Minute 93.
It's minute 93.
And my name is Kelly.
My name is Leandra. Yours is Kelly.
And we're your intrepid companions.
And together, we're stupid.
Companions through the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And we've reached minute 93. And what happens?
In minute 93, Riff continues ranting about how nobody ever understood him and it's not a phase, Mom, by saying, "Didn't like me, they never liked me," while turning away to have a bit of a cry. Dr. Scott helpfully says, "You did right," which makes Riff and Magenta both turn around slowly to stare at him. Riff then crosses over to Dr. Scott with the laser aimed at his chest, Magenta following shortly after. Dr. Scott then has a reaction other than ambivalence, and that reaction is of fear. Fear of the laser aimed directly at his chest. Riff says a decision had to be made, and Dr. Scott says, "You're okay by me," and offers a hand to shake. Ignoring the offered hand, Riff says, "Dr. Scott, I'm sorry about your nephew," to which Dr. Scott responds, putting his hand away with, "Eddie? Yes, well, perhaps it was for the best." Chuckle, chuckle, chuckle. He abruptly stops and eyes the laser again. Riff has not moved. Brad and Janet are both quietly and terrifiedly eyeing the laser, with Brad looking down at it. He is very tall. And Magenta's just haughtily looking on. Riff continues, "You should leave now, Dr. Scott, while it is still possible. We're about to beam the entire house back to the planet of," and then he turns to Magenta to say, "transsexual," and turns back to Dr. Scott to say, "in the galaxy of Transylvania." He pauses to see what Dr. Scott's reaction is. Nobody moves. He quietly says, "Go." And that's the minute.
What a minute. Such exposition in this minute.
It was so good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd go that far, but it does make a huge reveal at this section in the movie. I mean, I guess, no, I don't think before this point in the movie, you know that Transylvania is a planet and they're not referring to the place or on Earth, right?
Let's see.
He says we return to Transylvania, but at that point it could be... And, Frank says, "I'm a sweet transvestite from transsexual Transylvania," but, when I first heard that, I did not realize that... I thought that transsexual was a modifier for Transylvania, you know what I mean? I didn't think it was transsexual, Transylvania.
And I never thought of transsexual as an adjective. I always thought of it as a location.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, and even if I had thought transsexual was a location, there's nothing to indicate at that point that it's a foreign planet.
I'm trying to remember if, we did know that they were aliens before this point.
Yes.
So, yeah, I guess that we didn't know what specific part of the universe they were from. And I guess we still don't. I don't think that the galaxy of Transylvania is anywhere near the Milky Way.
I thought you were gonna be like, I don't think the galaxy of Transylvania has been mapped by astronomers yet.
I
Anyway,
mean, also
it
that.
yeah, well, that's what you think. I mean, man, if I ever became an astronomer, they would hate my ass. First planet I discover is being named transsexual. But anyway, that's not true. I would probably name it after the Andalite homeworld. Just another
Aw.
little, yeah.
Aw.
Actually, I don't
Fucking
know if
nerd.
I don't know if we actually know the name of the Andalite homeworld. I think that they just call it that always. I've noticed that most of the aliens in Animorphs don't have a tendency to name planets beyond just like the one dominant species on it. Anyway,
Maybe
just
it's
interesting stuff
Andolia.
for you. Ooh, that's pretty. Well, much to think about, much to discuss. We can get into that on Animorphs Minute, which I'm sure we will be doing. But um I forget what I was talking about. Oh. So,
Animorphs.
well, before that, I was talking about whether I would have recognized Transylvania as a galaxy or a planet, and I don't think so because that is kind of a crazy coincidence. It'd be like if they were like, "Oh, we returned to Siberia," and then at some point it's like, "By the way, Siberia is just coincidentally also the name of their galaxy."
We return to my own private Idaho.
We return to Urinetown.
The musical.
Yes, I hope. Anyway, here's the thing. I know you listeners are probably like, Kelly, would you get to the point? Stop talking about all these things other than the movie. We need to talk about the movie.
The movie.
Yeah, well, here's the thing about the movie is I don't have much to say about it this minute.
Oh
Um,
shit.
Here is how little there is to say about it. This entire minute and a couple subsequent minutes of the DVD commentary are Patricia, Quinn, and Richard O'Brien arguing over what is the line on her thigh, by which they mean there's a black strap, you see. He says, I see the top of your stocking, and I see your panties, but what is that? And the whole time I'm like, her garter belt. It's her garter belt.
It's her
It's her
garter
garter
belt.
belt. It is her garter belt. What else would
It's her
it
garter
be?
belt.
And neither of them they were like, I have no idea. What is that? What is that? And then Patricia Patricia is like, I have no idea who even dressed me. And I was like, Sue Blaine. It's Sue Blaine. Sue Blaine. So,
You must
frustrating
have
moment.
loved Blue's Clues growing up.
Well, let me tell you, I did not get the satisfaction out of Blue's Clues that I got from this very frustrating moment of it. And then, like, in the next minute, like, when Riff and Magenta, spoiler alert, are, like, talking amongst themselves, Richard O'Brien just starts doing, like, a riff tracks where he's, like, talking for the characters, and they're still discussing what the strap could be. Or the line, they keep calling it. Maybe I may clip that and insert it here. And this is where I would do that if I was doing that. And it would also be Leandra doing that.
What have you got? What's that extra little band round the top of your leg there? I can't
I
work
don't
that
know.
one out.
I'm trying to work it out too. It's more interesting than yours.
I can see the top of your stocking there, and then up round your waist. But what's the one in the middle there? What's that? What's that all about?
I think that's. I don't know. How can I remember who dressed me?
Well, you dressed yourself, obviously.
You mean with no
You
bloody
can't remember
dresses?
yourself. Oh, my darling sister. What is that extra bit between your knickers and your top of your stockings? Have no idea. Ooh, I don't know. But it's all for you, my darling, in the stars. Something up there, anyway. In the Milky Way.
Stop it!
Ooh, look, I can see them. I can feel the stars shining down on us.
Anyway, it's just crazy. I I was like, guys, what else would it be? But they were being very cute and, as I've mentioned, very goofy and silly at this point.
And I do love that.
Yeah, me too. What is Brad doing?
So Brad is just looking at the laser, and the reason that it looks like his eyes are closed is because he's very tall. Like, he's not pretending to be asleep, he is just very tall, and his eyes are pointed at something that is lower to the ground.
I think it's fun. I'm sensing that you're not a fan of the callback in which people tell Barry to wake up and that they're filming, etc. But I always thought it was kind of funny.
My complaint with it is that it goes on forever. If you do it
Yeah,
like once or twice, then that's one thing, but I don't know. It's one that I think is overdone.
that's fair. Well, those are all my notes. What have you got?
I've got a couple. So when Riff says they didn't like me, do you remember like Tex Avery cartoons or
Oh,
Bugs Bunny when it's like,
yeah.
they ain't just
That's
whistling Dixie? Like, that's what it reminds me of.
I don't remember that specific line, but that does sound like something that Bugs Bunny would suddenly yell. 100%. He would be like, Magenta, lean in. He'd be like, keep beckoning for her to get really close to his mouth, and then he would scream that in her ear.
It's just, there's something about it that I find very comical, and there are a lot of callbacks that you can do surrounding that, and they kind of morph as technology changes. But I do question whether or not that entire exchange is dumb or funny. Like, I know we talked about it a little bit last minute.
Don't know why they're mutually
I
exclusive.
guess that's fair. It very much seems like the sort of thing that you would say to me. Like, if I was like, man, I'm not sure if I should do this, you'd be like, no, you should do this. That's a great choice. And I'm like, are you sure? Yeah, no, go for it. And then I do it, and you're like, why? I thought that they were your friends. It's so fucking toxic.
That is very funny, and I should do that.
I would hate if you
But
did that. I would be so upset.
yeah, but I would find it funny.
God,
So,
that is true.
but yeah, so I was kind of I always thought this was kind of confusing, but I think literally during the recording of this minute, I've decided that I really, really love and am amused by the Riff and Magenta exchange.
I've always loved it. I was never sure that it made sense. And
Oh, it does not make sense. No, no,
I
no.
think that I love it more, but
Yes.
it still doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make sense. It's just like I said in the last minute, I just think it's really funny that they showed like what would happen after that death, and everybody's just like, "What the fuck? Why did you do that?" Like, I think it's an amusing idea.
I can agree with that.
Okay,
And I have a couple more notes just to round out my Dr. Scott thoughts on this. Like,
Dr. Scott's thoughts.
he is a fucking sociopath, and the only time that he has any sort of emotion at this is when he is worried that he might get shot. And then it's all chuckles and like, hey, no, I'm your friend. We good? As a human, I hate Dr. Scott, but as a role to play, I think Dr. Scott is a great one.
Oh yeah, Dr. Scott is really fun and silly. Of the like Eddie Dr. Scott criminologist roles, that one always like really stood out to me as the most fun.
I can get behind that. I think that Eddie is is the one that people remember more, but yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, 90% of people from a certain generation, if you ask them to name somebody or from the Rocky Horror Picture Show or something that happens, they're going to say the meatloaf scene.
Yeah.
That's all fun and good. I just think that, like, playing Dr. Scott, he's got more of a, like, he's got more of, like, a silly character that you get to put on. When you do Eddie, literally just have the one song running around. You don't get to, like, emote much. You know, I mean, I guess you get to emote, but the emotion is, like, horny and excited and then scared you're getting killed with a pickaxe.
Yeah. And those are just things that I was already going to feel.
I know, exactly.
And then my final note for this before I go into callbacks is when Riff turns to Magenta during his monologue and says transsexual and just immediately turns back to Dr. Scott, she has what can only be described as like an O face at, oh my god, I'm so fucking happy that I get to get off of this goddamn planet. Like, she is, it's not quite a horny look, I don't think, but it is very much a, like, very, very extremely overtly happy look.
Yeah, I mean, can you blame her?
No.
If you had a chance to leave Earth, yeah.
But those are all of the notes that I have.
Okay. Would you like to hear some callbacks?
Yes, I'd love to hear some callbacks.
Okay, but they have slurs.
No, they
Or at least one of
don't.
them does. One of them does. I'm allowed to say it.
Why? I guess I'll find out.
Yeah. When I'm surprised you don't know. When Dr. Scott says, "You did right," you can say, "Did you just call me a big dyke?"
Oh, I guess that is a slur.
Yeah. Leandra's like, I need to apologize to my coworkers.
No, I just...
Well, Sharon shouldn't have got her hair cut like that. No.
Not all lesbians have bad haircuts, just the ones that I know.
And you.
I know me.
Yeah. No, your haircut's not bad anymore. I like it.
So what callbacks do you have, Kelly, other than...
Call me a big dyke. So anyway, we have that. And then this is a really one of the oldest references in the callbacks, I would say. Which is, it is a reference to an old vaudeville routine. It doesn't make a lot of sense to people who don't know the vaudeville routine. Or, like, I think it was done on, like, the Three Stooges and stuff. So if you don't know, there's this whole bit where the guy is telling this story and he keeps talking about something that would trigger him, and he would go, "Slowly I turned, step by step, inch by inch," and then he would get over there and start, like, beating the guy up. That is said while Riff Raff turns slowly and starts walking over to Dr. Scott. Is it funny if you don't know this old vaudeville routine? No, it mostly confuses people, but besides the big dyke one I just said, there just aren't a lot of callbacks in this minute, so I hear it pretty often. Leandra, thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, no, I did recognize that as a vaudeville thing, so I don't know. I think that's funny. Yeah, I think Big Dyke is funnier,
you're not
though.
doing anything else.
Yeah.
Like, you're sitting in the movie theater already and that's happening and no one's talking. You may as well.
There are a couple of other options, but I think that one's as good as any other.
Well, I can't wait to hear them when we get to your turn. Anyway, when Scott says, "You're okay by me," you can say, "Nanu Nanu," which is a reference, I believe, to Mork and Mindy, right, Leandra?
Yes.
Yeah. And then, oh shit, wrong aliens, because, Mork and Mindy. There's a Godspell one that happens about here, but I'm going to have to call in Leandra for the assist because I've never seen Godspell and I forget the tune. But it's after he says, "You're okay by me." Or no, sorry. It's after he says, perhaps it was for the best.
Yeah. So it happens after that, and all you do is say bum bum bum, because the song is, "It's all for the best, bum bum bum."
Okay, yeah, and that, I couldn't remember what the tune was of the bum bum bum, so I was, yeah. But there you go, that's one. And then, Okay. This is my favorite callback for the minute. When he says, we're about to beam the entire house to the planet of transsexual in the galaxy of Transylvania. You go, oh, that means something completely different in our language. We already talked about the Barry, wake up, Barry, we're filming, but when he looks like he's asleep, you'll hear that fairly often. And then finally, right towards the end here, when he says, you should leave now, Dr. Scott, while it is still possible. You can say it was possible this whole time. But that's all I have.
That was great. You did a really
Thank
great
you.
job. You should be
Thank
very
you.
proud of this.
Thank you. You know what, I am.
It's very difficult right now, and I get that. I don't have many more. When Riff Raff says they didn't like me, he never liked me, you can, and this is right at the end of last minute, so that's why I'm bringing it up now. You can go, Dear MySpace, Dear LiveJournal, Dear Zanga. You can just keep naming different places where people complain. So, like, Dear Facebook. I don't know that people really complain on Instagram, but you can go Dear TikTok.
Dear Discord server.
Dear Discord kitten. Wait, no, not that. So then when Dr. Scott says you did right, you can go, you got a little bit of something brown on your nose, Dr. Scott. Or you can call him a brown noser. You could say, is that a shit stain or a mustache? You know, just all of the stuff related to that. Related to the hello, my name is Inigo Montoya, you killed my father, prepare to die that we've already done, you can say, hello, my name is Richard O'Brien, you fucked up my movie, prepare to die.
Yeah.
And that one's fun.
It is fun.
When Riff Raff says a decision had to be made, you can go, and you fucked it up. And Riff Raff says, Dr. Scott, I'm sorry about your... You can go, dinner, sex life, and then he says, nephew. And you go, oh, same thing. And then Scott says, Eddie, and you go, no, Penelope, you twit. And then Riff Raff says, you should leave now, Dr. Scott, while it is still possible to do wheelies in the parking lot. We are about to beam the entire house to the planet of transsexual in the galaxy of Transylvania, exit 9 off the turnpike. And that's all I got.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I think I should stop recording podcasts now.
No, just for tonight. But first, we're so close to finishing this. And I don't want you to stop yet because I've got a question for you. But I've got a question for you, Kelly.
Here, what is it?
Did you know that if I don't stop talking, you can't go watch TV? Now, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Wait, Kelly.
It's a cowboy wearing day. What?
I just wanted to know if you're okay.
You know what, Leandra? Does this bird belong to you?
Ah! You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here, so get the fuck out.
To the late night double feature picture show.
Well, that's my life. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I hope you enjoyed it, because I know I did.